This is Podmasana, and I am Brendan Orr. Some people discover spirituality through crisis. Others inherit it through birth and spend a lifetime discerning what to do with that inheritance. Today's guest, L.S. Vishwanath, represents the latter, a man born into spiritual privilege who has spent 82 years wrestling with what that actually means. Born on August 5th, 1943, in the ancient city of Kashi, later known as Varanasi or Benares, on the banks of the holy Ganges, Vishwanath was named after the city's presiding deity, Lord Shiva, whose name Vishwanath means Lord of the Universe. Born into a Tamil Brahmin family, he inherited what he calls a rich spiritual heritage and a tradition of Sanskrit learning. But inheritance, as Vishwanath would learn, is not the same as realization. His father, a devout Hindu and law professor at Delhi University, performed puja daily. Young Vishwanath and his siblings plucked jasmine flowers and prepared sandalwood paste for the gods. The rituals were there. The framework was there. But what was he supposed to do with it all? An unexpected answer came through English poetry. Robert Southey's The Battle of Blenheim, about a grandfather explaining a great war to his grandson who keeps asking, "But what came of it?" planted a seed. The futility of war. The waste of human life and resources that could help the poor and needy. A moral questioning that would shape his consciousness. As a history student at Delhi University, Vishwanath was more fascinated by cricket commentaries than European history exams. His professor warned him he'd fail his crucial master's degree. Worried, he turned not just to his books, but to Shirdi Sai Baba, the saint his mother prayed to daily, reciting his 108 names. He began sitting beside her, repeating those names, staring at Baba's picture with its 11 assurances. I take care of my devotees. In May 1965, the results came. First-class marks in European history. This was the beginning. Then came the crisis that changed everything. Over the next 40-plus years, Shirdi Sai Baba would appear again and again, most dramatically in June 2009, when Vishwanath was hospitalized, passing blood with every bathroom visit. Doctors baffled. As death approached, Baba came vividly in a dream, assuring him in Hindi, "You will recover." He did. But why? Why would a saint who left his earthly body in 1918 continue conferring grace decades later on someone who wasn't even born yet when Baba died? Vishwanath found his answer in Baba's often quoted teaching, "I fulfill my devotees' desires, so they develop faith and want what I want to give them." In other words, Baba uses mundane miracles, passing an exam, surviving illness, to develop faith that eventually transforms into higher seeking. The goal isn't to keep getting your wishes granted. It's to evolve into someone who wants what consciousness itself wants to give you. Now at 82, in what he calls the evening of my life, Vishwanath reflects on the central challenge, bringing the mind, that notorious wanderer and sensuous pleasure seeker, as Sri Aurobindo called it, like a dog's tail, into alignment with the Atma, the pure soul within. The Bhagavad Gita teaches striving to make the mind sattvic, righteous, pure, noble, and seeking unity with the Atma as the higher goal. Complete detachment from the worldly things is required. Is he ready? He's not sure. On this episode of Podmasana, join us for a conversation about spiritual inheritance versus spiritual realization. Why saints fulfill mundane desires to point toward transcendent ones, and what it means to wrestle with the ultimate question at 82 years old. Am I ready to let go? Part 1. Childhood, Inheritance, and Early Awakenings. Dr. Vishwanath, thank you for being on Podmasana.
It's my pleasure to be on Podmasana.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show. So, Vishwanath, you were born in Kashi, the ancient city where Lord Shiva presides as Vishwanath, Lord of the universe, and you were named after him. You write that being born in a Brahmin family, I was heir to a rich spiritual heritage. But you also say you felt you shouldn't throw it away in frivolous pursuits. What did that realization feel like? When did you understand that spiritual inheritance isn't just cultural background, but something that demands something of you?
This awareness develops over time. It's difficult to be very specific how it develops, when it develops, but it does. And it involves a lot of reflection on not only my Brahmin birth, but also human birth as a human being in the ancient city of Kashi, now known as Benares. It has been one of the most ancient cities in India, considered very holy because of the river Ganges and the Vishwanath. So this kind of, not as a boy, I was quite playful, I liked game of cricket, but slowly it develops, it registers in my mind. So I felt this is important for me, the family, the place of birth, the holy city, and so on. And I should not throw it away by taking to kind of frivolous pursuits because, as a youth, there are a lot of distractions. So I told myself I should not be distracted by youthful pursuits, and I should build on my Brahmin heritage. So, and why these things register in one's mind through reflection is probably because we don't live one lifetime from birth to death. There is a previous, I believe in birth and rebirth. There's a previous birth, which is part of one's spiritual growth, So probably that's why I started reflecting on human birth, what it means to me, Brahmin birth, and my heritage. And then what also leads to consciousness of Brahmin birth is that I had three sibling sisters, and it was part of they were unmarried, and it was part of the qualifications for marriage to learn Carnatic music. So my father, my parents, they employed a music teacher, teach them Carnatic music. As a young boy, I sit with them, and that also led to reflection. This is probably part of not only qualification for marriage, but also in most Brahmins' house at that time, things probably have changed. It was a requirement to learn either instrumental music, the veena, the violin, or vocal music. My sister learned music. So I thought probably it's part of my South Indian Brahmin heritage for the girls to learn music. So that led to awareness. And then there was this Sandhamadan, that is initiation after wearing the sacred thread, which was, my parents arranged it for me age 17, but usually recommended age is age 8 for this sacred thread ceremony. It's initiation into Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is part of the 4 stages of life for Hindus, and it is prescribed or it is 4 stages of life for 3 varnas, namely Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya. Shudras, it's not there. It's this kind of initiation into brahmacharya. But those 4 stages of life, namely brahmacharya, this married life, and then there's one more stage. Sannyasa is final. And so these 4 stages are there. So wearing sacred thread is part of the initiation into brahmacharya, the unmarried stage of the life. So, and then slowly again, this happens over a period of time, which is difficult to specify, is that the Sandhavan ritual has a lot of cosmic component to it. For example, I touch my forehead and speak out the names of the rishis, of the sages, in ancient India, like Atri, like Bhrigu, Gautama, Kashyapa. They're all realized souls, not ordinary humans. So when I speak out their names day in, day out, it's supposed to have an impact on the Sahasrara chakra. There are we have several chakras in our body, starting with Muladhara to the heart chakra, to the chakra between the ajna, between the eyebrows, and finally the head, which has Sahasrara chakra. So when I touch my head and say the name of this, the rishis, it is, I think, has a cosmic connect. So also part of the ritual is when I utter the names of the different planets. Aditya for sun, Soma for moon, for Jupiter, Shukra for Venus, So it has a cosmic connect, of which, daily if you do it, you become aware of your cosmic connection. We all have a cosmic connect. Astrology is not a useless science, it's there. So cosmic connect is established on arrival on this planet, and then many of us are unaware that there's a cosmic being within. Atma is not the only one. There are all these chakras which have cosmic. So when to Kundalini yoga, when it reaches the ultimate Sahasrara chakra, then the whole cosmic universe opens out. So one becomes aware that this ritual has a cosmic connect, and also one should aspire towards seeking the cosmic consciousness. This happens at a young age and at a formative stage.
So speaking of consciousness, of all the things that could have shaped your moral consciousness as a child, it was an English poem by Robert Southey about war's futility. Young Peterkin finding a skull, asking his grandfather, but what came of it? And getting no real answer beyond, it was a great war. Why did that poem strike you so deeply? And how did that early sense of war's wastefulness connect to your spiritual development?
As I said, probably the seeds of cosmic awareness, consciousness were sown earlier. There are other poems and the same. This was a book of poems. There was a poem also by Lord Tennyson on charge of Light Brigade. With March 600, the guns rolling and thundered. The soldiers marched. But that didn't strike me as very appealing. But this one did. But futility of war, soldiers in the prime of their life, they die on the battlefield, grieving mothers and families. So it struck me as something very wasteful, which can be stopped. Nations spend enormous amount on weapons. They still do on weaponry and in the name of nationalism, protecting their borders. So it all seemed to be very wasteful to me. Because in my college days, I read a book by Benedict Anderson, which spoke about nation and nationhood as an imagined community, which has very diverse people based on color, on religion, on creed, and all that. But somehow, when during wars, their sense of nationhood. So diverse people come together to fight wars, but it is, I agree with Anderson, that it is imagined community. People fight over basis of religion, their own color, as happens in America. A lot of color prejudice, blacks and whites. They have serious differences, but somehow they are expected to. Soldiers, of course, do their duty. For example, during the 1962 Indo-China War, my wife knitted sweaters for the soldiers because the Indian soldiers fighting China in snowy mountains, and they were ill prepared. They didn't have proper shoes. They didn't have proper clothing. Nehru was probably Gandhi's influence. He never thought such a war will ever occur. He was very friendly to China, but China attacked us. It was a big surprise. So sweaters were knitted. Contributions came pouring in from many people. So people thought our nation, my nation, is under threat from the Chinese. So there was occasion. But it's not that differences were forgotten. Differences were there. They still persist. Caste, creed, religion, and so on. The difference between Hindus and Muslims have been there for a long time. But Muslim soldiers fought for India, sacrificed their lives. There was one soldier called Abdul, if I remember his name. He died fighting in the border. So there were others. So the Indian army doesn't curse only Hindus. It has Muslims, it has other Christians, and so on. So, but anyway, though there's sense of nationhood, but still I thought wars were wasteful. This is again, God expects us to live as one family. Hinduism has that concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam in translated means one human family. One human family is expected to live and let live and not fight wars, kill each other.
Mm-hmm. When you were a child, you plucked jasmine flowers and prepared sandalwood paste for your father's daily prayers. You still perform daily puja today. But there's a difference between doing rituals as a child because you're told to and continuing them as an adult because they mean something. When did that shift happen for you, Vishwanath? What does puja mean to you now that it couldn't have meant when you were 4 years old picking flowers?
I had a very strict, even dominating father, and I just did what is expected, pluck flowers, prepare sandal paste for the puja, and he used to, it was very regular, though he was a professor and dean of a law department in Delhi University, but I did. But later on, as my spiritual experiences accumulated, particularly of Shirdi Baba and so on, I felt that prayers have meaning. If chakras are a cosmic connect, so are prayers. Prayers connect connect me to a cosmic God, like for example Shirdi Baba, who years after he gave up his body came into my visions, to which I refer later. So it's a kind of interaction between cosmic God and the bhakta. Bhakta means a devotee. And that matters because prayers and the interactive experience with the cosmic God, whom you have experienced, can ward off dangers, which actually happened, to which I refer later. It's a kind of gut feeling that pujas is not just mere ritual, offering flowers, for example, preparing sandal paste, uttering mantras, uttering his 108 names of God, because not only Baba, but Lord Venkateshwara Tirupati and other gods, they all have what is called Ashtotra. Ashtotra has 108 names of God. So reciting them matters because the living God, he is not a just stone image. He's alive within you and in the temple, So once that understanding happens, then you feel protected in your daily life because We don't know. When I step out of my home, any kind of danger can happen. Even when I'm sleeping, any kind of thing can happen, including silent heart attacks. But I feel protected, guided by my daily round of puja. So that way it is very meaningful.
Mm-hmm. In your younger days, Vishwanath, you were fascinated by cricket, listening to radio commentaries, watching inter-college tournaments, while your European history grades suffered a little bit. Your professor warned you would do badly in your master's exam. This seems like a classic moment, spiritual inheritance versus worldly distraction. Looking back, do you think your attraction to cricket was the mind being a notorious wanderer, as you'd later learn, or was it just being young?
Yeah, being young was one of the things. That's why I felt I should throw away my inheritance and so on. So they were a bit, usual days, I could even say madly interested in the game of cricket. I don't know, I can't explain it rationally, but cricket was a very popular game in India. It still is. It was a British game which we inherited, an extremely popular game. So I used to listen to running commentaries, go to cricket matches where my country played with UK or Pakistan and so on. Most of the former British colonies have this game, and it was a very popular game. So I felt distracted. Though I was not unaware that I should be studying, my mother used to remind me sometimes that why you're not studying. But then it was just that pull of youth probably and this fondness for game of cricket. But then my European history professor noticed what I was doing, sometimes missing classes, going to inter-college tournaments, matches where my college, St. Stephen's College, participated. So he noticed all this and said, look, he said, hello, you're missing classes, you're not serious, and you're going to do badly. And that woke me. I could have dismissed it and still gone for cricket matches, but then I took it seriously. Why I took it seriously, I don't know. My hindsight tells me that Shirdi Baba was at work. He probably put it in my mind that I should study seriously. Great saints like Baba operate at cosmic level. They can put a thought process into one's mind, which I think he did. He's probably told me, stop being careless, study, work, and which I did. And then there's no guessing about Baba's role in my getting first class marks in the MA exam because he came vividly in my mother's dream. Those days in Delhi, we were in Delhi, the month of May is extremely hot and interior of the house, though it was a very spacious house, the heat was unbearable. So we used to sleep outside in the open behind a neemed is margosa tree. We had to sleep below in charpais. Charpais are string cots. And so my mother was in a separate string cot, but close to where she slept. She woke up, I don't know what the time. She said, Baba appeared in a dream and told her that I will do well. And so it was. When the results came, I got first class marks. And also, not only that, in the question paper, in the European question paper, all the questions I had the answers. So, and the results. So it's not a coincidence about Baba coming in my mother's dream, very context specific, situation specific, because I was worried about the outcome of the exam. I didn't want to do badly. MA is a master's degree exam, and it matters because the marks or grades you get are checked before you get a job, because it's a kind of qualifying exam. After that, there's only research for the PhD or whatever. But MA is a qualifying exam where marks matter. And I got worried. Who put that thought? I think it was Baba. And he comes in my mother's dream and says that your son will do well. And the outcome of the results, I'm of course very happy, delighted. But I know who's at work and getting me through. So, yeah.
If you're a devoted listener of the show, Becoming a Podmasana Plus member is a great way to provide ongoing support of the show and get extra perks across 3 tiers, such as early access to ad-free episodes from the growing Podmasana archive, discounts on merchandise, and optional recognition in show notes and on Podmasana's website. Higher tiers also get access to bonus episodes, a private chat group, live video Q&As with featured guests, a personal thank you mention in episodes, and more. Listeners can support the show via monthly or yearly subscription starting at just $3.99 per month. A 20% discount is applied to all yearly subscriptions. Yearly Podmasana Plus subscribers even get free merchandise. Subscriptions automatically renew, and there are no contracts. For more information, visit podmasana.com/plus. You can also make a one-time or monthly donation to support the show at podmasana.com/support. 1% of all revenue from Podmasana Plus memberships and donations are committed to carbon removal. Thank you so much for considering a Podmasana Plus membership. Your support means a great deal, and your subscription helps to cover the research, writing, and audio production that go into every episode of Podmasana. Part 2: Grace, Miracles, and Why Me? Vishwanath, in May 1965, you got first-class marks in European history. You credit Shirdi Sai Baba. But many people would say you simply studied harder after the professor's warning. How do you distinguish between grace and your own effort? Or is that distinction itself a Western way of thinking that misses the point?
Baba, Shirdi Baba, he wants to make me a spiritual seeker, and that was the beginning. When I was just 22 years old, got good marks in the master exam. So Baba's way is to catch people when they're young, still younger, because he used to say that I bring the birds whom I want to come to me, and so I tie, so to speak, symbolically, strings to their legs, and pull them towards me. So I think it's very possible that he has just done that for me, because 1965 was the beginning of my experience of Shirdi Baba, and that developed my faith in him, because I was anxious about the outcome of the exam, which turned out to be very, very good. So as the experiences accumulated, it only enormously strengthened my faith in Shirdi Sai Baba, what he was aiming at for my soul. Because his aim is not just passing the exam or recovery from illness. His aim is to inculcate in me spiritual seeking to reach the highest goal of universal consciousness. The 65, at age 22, a youth of 22 was the kind of beginning of my immense faith in Shirdi Sai Baba, what he was aiming at, not only for my body, for my soul, because soul is long-term. Body perishes when the time comes through death. But the soul is a long-term thing which transmits to another body, because I said, I believe in rebirth, birth and rebirth. So, if I develop spiritually in this birth under Baba's Leelas, what you call miracles or Leelas. The miracles, what you call miracles, are also called Leelas in the local language. I think it's Sanskrit. So then I would be born in another body as an evolved soul. So that's what Shirdi Baba, years after he gave up his body in 1918, is aiming at. Now, who puts this thought in my head? I think it's Baba. It's not a brain wave, So this happens over time. So I became more and more aware, because why are these experiences accumulating for me and not for others? Because Baba probably knows that some seeds have been sown earlier on which he has to work. So Baba is trying to work. My strong guess is on what he considers some fertile ground. So far as I am concerned, I can't say that for my family or others. So Baba's game is very clear to me.
Let's go to June 2009. You're passing blood with every visit to the bathroom. Doctors have no answers. You're having a brush with death, Vishwanath. Shirdi Sai Baba, who gave up his earthly body in 1918, 26 years before you were even born, comes vividly in your dream and assures you in Hindi, you will recover. Take us into that moment. What did Baba look like? How did his voice sound? And when you woke up, how did you know it wasn't just your mind creating comfort?
I was repeatedly passing pools of blood with every visit to the bathroom, and I was very weak, feeling very weak and in fact dazed. My daughter was running to blood banks in the middle of the night to get A positive blood for me. Though blood was injected, but still there was no stopping of the blood. I was in a small nursing home at the time. This is June 2009. And I was critical. Then the director of this nursing home told my daughter that he can't handle this. So I've shifted to a bigger hospital in Bangalore. And there the doctors tried to figure out where the blood was coming. They tried endoscopy, colonoscopy, midnight surgery, but the blood was not just stopping. But even before I was moved to a bigger hospital, in the small nursing home in Jayanagar, Bangalore, where I live, Baba came very vividly in my dream. I don't know the time of the night. I was quite dazed and feeling very weak. He came very vividly. He's walking away from me, and I am chasing him in the dream. And then he disappears for, I don't know how long, probably few seconds. I'm not keeping track of time because I'm very dazed, lying on a bed. And he turns around, and his face looks quite old. He gave up his body when he was about 80 years of age, if I remember. He looks quite old. He's not young. And he has a dazzling face. And he speaks to me in Hindi. Theek ho jaage. Theek ho jaage means, translated in English, means you will be all right. You will recover. And so, though I was shifted to a bigger hospital, doctors can't figure out. The doctor, the gastroenterologist told my wife, we don't know where the blood's coming from. It's a slow ooze from somewhere. We can't make out. If it was a huge lot of blood gushing somewhere, we can stop it, but sorry, we can't do it. So I was in and out of ICU. And then after I shifted to Delhi, in a hospital where my brother-in-law worked, suddenly the blood stopped. So the important point here is Baba and two other saints about whom I'll speak later in this podcast, they always speak the truth because they are cosmic beings, and like the sun never fails to come out every day, whichever part of the world, And so they are cosmic beings who always speak. Baba also said, often, he lived in a dilapidated mosque in Shirdi for 60 years before he gave up his body in 1918. He often said, I speak the truth, So he had spoken much earlier that you will be all right, and so I did. And since 2009 to this day, not a trace of blood whenever I visit the bathroom. So I recovered, and I've lived up to, I had a brush with death, no doubt about it. I could have died, But I think Baba uh, helped with his words, "You will recover." And I ascribe my being alive today at age 82 to Baba. I could have passed on when I was at that time I was in my 60s, 2009. I was born in 1943. I was probably age 64, 65, 64, I think. And I could have passed on because the doctor could figure out. My family was very worried about my condition, physical condition. My wife spoke often morning and evening to her doctor brother who's in Delhi. Then she said, "You got to come. I can't, I don't know what's happening. The blood is not stopping." He came, took me to Delhi, and then it just suddenly stops, you see. So, uh, so that's it. Um he did come. So there's no, it's not imagination, it's not hallucination. He came as vividly as he did in mother's dream before my results of my MA exam were declared. So that's how the faith in Baba as God builds up. And I'm sure it is happening the world over. There is no uh, doubt in my mind why so many Baba temples are coming up in many states in the United States and the UK, the Caribbeans, and so on. So big people have experienced Baba as I've had. And they believe Baba is God, whom they can trust, who helps them in time of need, be it an exam or critical illness, and solves the problem. But there's no doubt about Baba is doing it's a strategy. He doesn't need anything for himself. He lived in a dilapidated mosque for 60 years, a crumbling mosque where here and there the stone was falling. And then he used to beg for his food. He used to wear a torn kafani. Some of the pictures of Baba with this kafani. Kafani is a tall tunic going beyond the knees. And obviously it is torn because in one side it is torn. So he wore a torn tunic, which is called in, I think, Urdu, a kafani, and he begged for his food from 5 houses in Shirdi. It's now a small, at that time, village, now a small town. It has grown because of thousands of Baba worshippers pour in. It was in thousands, now it is in lakhs. There's a daily hotels have come up in that small village during Baba's time. And it is their faith in Baba, what he can do for them, that they come. Baba's strategy is not different. They come, they try to access Samadhi, they pray to him for relief from whatever is bothering them. But Baba works on them, their minds, to be speakers. In my case, it is absolutely true, but others I don't know. Whether once their prayers are answered, they become spiritual speakers, I do not know. But in my case, it is a very strong feeling that Baba wants to make me a spiritual seeker.
Mm-hmm. Vishwanath, you ask yourself, why would a saint who died decades before I was born keep conferring grace on me? You find your answer in Baba's teaching. I fulfill my devotees' desires so they develop faith and want what I want to give them. This is profound. Saints use mundane miracles to create faith that eventually transforms into higher seeking. But it also raises a question. Once you understand the game Baba is playing, using worldly fulfillment to point toward transcendence, does it still work? Or does the magic break once you see the mechanism?
The magic doesn't break because the Baba's appearance in dreams and visions is 100% intended because he wants to help out. And it doesn't end there because he wants to work on my mind and transform me from just seeker of the mundane to a seeker of the higher truth, which is universal consciousness. So far as I am concerned, Baba's strategy or game is not over, because I have both the mundane and the spiritual seeking going on simultaneously in my mind. So this it's a process. Transformation doesn't happen. Probably some individuals it happens suddenly. For example, there's a great sage called Ramana Maharishi in a place called Tirunamalai in Tamil Nadu. He had at age 10 or 12, he had a huge spiritual experience, and then he meditated deeply in the basement of a temple, Shiva temple, and then his meditation was so hard that earthworms was all over his body. And he developed, I think, like the Buddha. He was enlightened. It happens. This is strong. But in my case, I think it's a slow process of transformation, because I am in both domains, the mundane and the spiritual. But I have no doubt that maybe not this birth or even next birth, Baba wants me to give up on the mundane and speak only the spiritual and seek that higher stage of universal consciousness. So the thing is, Baba doesn't work appearance in the dream, saying that you'll be okay, you'll recover, is not the end. It is part of a process where he makes you reflect on why me, why he came, why when I could have died, I recover and still alive at age 82. It tells me a lot about what Baba is aiming at for me, for my soul.
Mm-hmm. So we've discussed Shirdi Sai Baba, and you've referred to two other saints I have experienced meaningfully. Who are these other saints, Vishwanath? What does it mean to experience a saint? Are we talking about dreams, visions, synchronicities, answered prayers, or something else entirely?
We are talking of dreams, visions, and experience. And experience of Shirdi Sai Baba and two other saints, namely Shirdi Sai Baba and the Kanchi saint, it's a saint of Kanchi as we call him, Chandrasekhara Saraswati Swami, have been important visions, dreams. They happened at different points of time. Of course, the Shirdi Baba was the earliest. But the experience matters, because there's a popular saying that only a person who tastes the pudding knows its taste. Those who are not tasted do not know. So as an experience of Shirdi Baba's grace and of these two other saints are very, very meaningful to me. The other saint is Satya Sai Baba, who is said to be reincarnation of Shirdi Sai Baba. He was born in place Puttaparthi in Andhra Pradesh. He grew up there. At that time, it was just called an anthill, a very small, tiny village. Now it is a small town, and his samadhi is there. So he was born in November 1926, gave up his body on 24th April 2011. And very meaningfully, he, just like Shirdi Baba, he rescued me from what could have been malignant cancer. 2008, there was a huge polyp near my anus. I couldn't see it. It's a huge polyp. We consulted doctors, surgeons. They said this has to be removed. And so scan was done. And the doctor at the same Manipal hospital, the guest hospital, he saw the huge polyp, size of a tennis ball. He told my daughter that it could be malignant. She started crying. She said, "Oh, Appa for father." She told my wife, "What's happening?" So then one of my elder sisters, who was already devotee of Shirdi Sai Baba, said, let's go to Puttaparthi. There, where Baba then, this I'm talking of 2008 when Shirdi Sai Baba was still alive, but he had taken to a wheelchair. Since he fell down in the bathroom, I took to a wheelchair. So I wrote up a letter praying to Shirdi Sai Baba that Baba help me. This polyp could be, doctor said could be malignant. My daughter is very worried and anxious. So can you do something? So I took that letter to Puttaparthi and we stayed in a hotel called Hotel Renaissance. In the morning, when he went for morning darshan, he came very close to me in a wheelchair, but I had forgotten the letter in the hotel room. So then I wanted this Shirdi Sai Baba going to come again close to me so that I could give him that letter. So in the afternoon, there was lunch. Afternoon around 3 o'clock, again he came very close to me. This time I didn't forget the letter. I put it in his lap and he took it. He didn't look at it then. He moved on because so many devotees were waiting for his darshan. A big crowd. So I went back and then at that time I was not sure of this gastroenterologist in Manipal Hospital because I was wondering how can I tell my daughter and she has a breakdown, she cries without doing a biopsy. But then, though I'm not a doctor, I knew that only a biopsy will show whether a piece of flesh after it is excised or removed is malignant or not. That much I knew. So I said, how can this doctor, tell my daughter that it is malignant? So I told my daughter, I don't trust this man. And my brother-in-law asked us to come to Delhi, where he was a doctor senior doctor in another hospital. And I was admitted for surgery. And surgically, that huge tennis ball size polyp was removed. And then a biopsy was done. My daughter though she was at that time studying or working in Bangalore, I don't remember, she was there. And she told me that because it's so big, they had to do a section by section biopsy of each part. And each part was declared without any cancer cells. That was it. Till that happened, my impression of Shirdi Sai Baba was a person they call a saint with a lot of hair on his head. Is he a saint or is he something else? Or is he pretending to be a saint? But that was it. Like the 2009, when I was passing blood, this was it. They found no cancer cells and a huge piece of flesh. A bit biopsy was done. It was a great relief for my daughter, my wife, my son, who was at that time in the US. So that was it. And then, after he gave up his body on 24th April 2011, beginning of May 2011, he comes in my vision and he usually wears a orange-like kafne or tunic which sannyasis wear. But in this vision, he is wearing a white, spotless white tunic or kafne, and I am lying down, seated, and he asks a small child, very small kid, to rub my head, and then it ends. So, a reflection, or was it, he put it in my head to reflect and understand that my mind had, I think it still has, a lot of garbage because it's still a very sensuous mind, you know. I like good food, I'm fond of sweets, I like beautiful pictures and so on. So it's very sensuous mind. And so the white, probably he's put it in my head to grasp. The white cacophony stands for purity. The children are very innocent. When they grow up, of course, probably they develop selfishness and so on. But that is a very small kid. So what I understand or made to understand, Sai Baba is, it is no massage. He is aiming at impurities in my mind. So spiritual seeking involves purification internally. With the gross chakras, the gross mind, one cannot advance spiritually. That's very clear to me. So in the Kundalini, which is very much part of yoga, since the time of Patanjali, the chakras are gross, right from Muladhara to the heart chakra to Ajna, between the eyes, right to Sahasrara. They have to be cleaned up. So once they are cleaned up, the mind is open to the cosmic energy. That's what I understand. You're into yoga, I'm sure you know about it.
Yeah.
So, Sai Baba wants that. Why me again is probably the seeds were sown earlier. I don't know. I don't know about my previous life. So why Shirdi Sai Baba, then Sai Baba, wants me to be a seeker to purify me internally, I have no clue. But some understanding, grasp of what they want is there. It has existed. So that's what makes me a seeker.
So you write that as the experiences accumulated, you started understanding Baba's expectation that you evolve into a seeker of the higher truth or consciousness. But many people accumulate spiritual experiences without actually transforming. What's the difference between collecting experiences and letting them transform you? How do you know if you're doing the former or the latter?
Yeah, the experiences as they accumulate tell me, or the cosmic Babas tell me that, opening to my mind, that I have to seek the higher truth, because we have a conditioned mind, a sensuous mind, and a notoriously wandering mind, which is true. So whether this kind of experience transforms others, it matters to others, I do not know. I do not know their mind, how their mind works. For me, the inputs through spiritual experiences have had a transformative experience, and because I have reflected on them, asked what they mean to me, this life, another life after I gave up this body. And so they're not something which or something matter of chance, serendipitous. It's not that. So I'm pretty sure that these saints have been at work and want to purify me internally. And they would not, I think, also not stop. So I understand that I have to bother about mundane less, do my pujas, do my rituals, stay connected to them. So, and also it could be that Baba, who, Satsai, all these cosmic beings, they knew that I would be indifferent to the experiences. Probably I would not have accumulated the way it has done. Probably they knew, they have just given up their body, but they're still alive. That picture in my prayer room is very much alive. That image is alive because I don't recall this, but I have recorded it. Sai Baba has emerged from that image in my prayer room. He has put his right hand on my head. So there's no guessing. And the way he arrived out of his own will, that's also another story. There may not be time to cover it in this podcast. But he arrived out of his own will. He emerges from that image out of his own will. So if I was indifferent to the earlier experiences, then probably they wouldn't have bothered for the achievements to be cumulative. With their higher goal, their aim that I am good material or soul who can reach out, they have made these experiences happen with that end objective. That's how I look at it. Or, actually, the questions about whose I, it is my soul I or my body I. This is a question which the saint of Tirunamalai made people ask who came to him. Ask, who am I? Are you the soul? Sit there, ask questions. Are you the body which will eventually perish? Inevitably perish because you are a mortal body. You're not the mortal body. You're the soul. And so, when I say, I felt, I realized, I reflected, is it my body self? Is it my mind? Or is it my Atma? These are things which I have to reflect on.
Hello, listener. Brendan here. Do you or someone you know have an article or book to share, a work to highlight, or story to tell that would be a good fit for Podmasana? If so, feel free to reach out via email at ideas@podmasana.com. That's ideas@podmasana.com. And we'll be sure to get back to you. Thank you. Part 3. The Mind, the Atma, and Evening of Life. Vishwanath, you have referred to Sri Aurobindo comparing the mind to a dog's tail, a notorious wanderer and sensuous pleasure seeker. You acknowledge the persisting mismatch between my mind and pure Atma. After 82 years of spiritual practice, daily puja, multiple saint experiences, you still find the mind is still wandering. Does that ever feel discouraging? Or is the point that the mind will always wander and the practice noticing and returning forever?
I'm given this so much of experience of the saints and what they want from my soul. I am anxious or concerned about the distractions of my mind. The mind is still not focused on anything that I would like to focus. So, for example, after I get up in the morning, after I have my morning cup of tea, I do some japa. I always carry japa mala, which has 108 beads. So I do japa of the Gayatri. Gayatri is an important part of Sandhya ritual. It's considered very potent ritual. So I recite the Gayatri, then the name of Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya. So, but still the mind wanders off here and there. It's not just the doorbell or the phone, but the mind just wanders off, and I'm concerned. So I would, and knowing that the saints like Baba, Sai Baba, and the saint of Kanchi, they want me to progress spiritually. That's the concern. And so I have now decided, I don't know whether I can do it before I leave this world, is that I should learn deep meditation, So my mind is, I was not much into yoga practice, whatever reason, I can't say. But this wandering mind, sensuous mind, bothers. So I agree with Sri Aurobindo that the mind is like a dog's tail, which is notorious for its wandering. But then the question is not just agreeing with the saint that Aurobindo was. I should be doing something about it. So I wrote to this person called M, who had a great guru. His first book is Apprentice to a Himalayan Master, where he meets his guru, Mahendranath Babaji in the Himalayan mountains. He treks all the way from Haridwar to, and the guru teaches him about Upanishads, about Kundalini and so on. Now he has his ashram in a place called Madanapalli, not far from, it is in Andhra Pradesh, not far from Bangalore where I live. I wrote to him that I would like to come to your ashram, learn deep meditation, but he has not responded. So I would like to learn deep meditation, but then a lot of time is spent on what I call mundane pursuit, like, I have investments in banks. After retirement, I need that money to keep us going, whether it is groceries or milk or whatever. So I think I should find the time. I think probably I don't still have the will to sit and do deep meditation. It's a very, very important part of yoga, as you know, so that I can focus. But normally, given my understanding, one of the most important chakras in my body, every human body, is between the eyebrows. It's called Anjana chakra. So I meditate on Baba. I regard Baba as my Sadguru and as my teacher, parent, mother. There's a saying, Sanskrit shloka, which is called saying, Tameva Mata Pita Tameva, Tame Bandhu Sakha Tameva. That is, you are my father, you are my mother. Mata, Pita is father, Mata is Pita, Bandhu is friend. Tameva Sakha, Sarvanta, so that you are everything. So I said that daily as part of my prayer. My strong feeling within is that I should develop the capacity or the inclination for deep meditation. Only that will help, not this. So I'm concerned, right now I'm concerned about my involvement in the mundane world, my wandering mind, the kind of senses, the way I like good food, chocolates, all that. I think I should, if I'm going to be a spiritual seeker, which Baba wants, and other saints who have had experience, then I should be more serious into meditation, into yoga, and that. Yeah.
That's an honest answer. Thank you. You write that complete detachment from worldly things is required, and you discussed that a little bit in the last answer, to attain the higher goal of unity with Atma. Then you ask yourself, at my age, I ask myself if I am ready for it. I'm not sure, is what you say. This is refreshingly honest. Most spiritual memoirs would claim readiness and claim arrival. You're saying, I'm 82, I've had miraculous experiences, and I'm still not sure I'm ready to let go. Why do you think detachment is so difficult, even for someone with your background, your experiences, and perhaps your head start?
Yeah, that is because I'm kind of shifting between the mundane and the spiritual. So, but I know the goal is spiritual seeking, not the mundane. The mundane has meaning so long as I'm alive, my whatever property I own, whatever investments I have, and so on. But it ceases to have any meaning once the mortal body perishes, which inevitably will. That's it, inevitably will. So, so I know what I should be aspiring for, but then I'm not sure, because, as I said, my mind is still not fully transformed. It is still, I think, probably half baked. This is some of the experience which this man, he was born in a Muslim family, but she talks about early births as a Hindu in his book. Now, he was born near Trivandrum in Kerala. So he went to some spiritual masters before he went to the Himalayas. So they saw him, they touched him on the forehead and said, you're still half-baked. So then this Maheshwarnath Babaji had strong urge. So he quit his home, didn't inform his parents, went to the Himalayas. And there he had over 3 years, he had a huge experience. So I think beside whatever pujas I do, the other rituals I do, I'm still probably half or probably even quarter-baked spiritually, transcending 2 domains, mundane and spiritual. So I think beside leading deep meditation, I need a spiritual, evolved guru who will help me reach the goal, who will help me cleanse internally. So, as long as my chakras are gross, as long as the mind is gross and wandering and sensuous, then I'm not ready. I'm not ready. That's why I'm saying I'm not sure, because I'm not ready. So I need a spiritual guru. Where that guru is, I don't know. Right now, I regard Shirdi Sai Baba as my spiritual guru. And it has been a long time since I had experience of him, of other spiritual masters as well. But the important completion of the transformation has not happened. I know. I have to be very honest. It has not happened. So how long this transformation will take, already 82, whether it will happen before this mortal body ends, will it happen my next birth, with the carryover, whatever has happened this birth, I do not know. That is being very honest, I don't know. So, but I also feel Baba is preparing me towards that goal. And of that I am sure. But still, the transformation, when it will be completed, honestly I don't know.
So you're 82, and you refer to this as the evening of your life. Looking back at your childhood, plucking jasmine flowers, the young adult years worrying about exams, enjoying cricket, middle-aged years surviving illness, what would you say to the younger Vishwanath? And more importantly, what's your relationship with the inevitability that this body, this lifetime, will end? Does your spiritual practice make death less frightening? Or is fear of death also just the mind wandering, the dog's tail wagging, and the practice is to notice and return to the Atma that never dies?
I have got over, in a way, the fear of death, you can say, because I feel that Baba, who wants me to spiritually develop, transform, and that is being his goal, and putting it in my mind that should be my goal as well, that doesn't frighten me at all, because I feel he's with me. I still have a desire to, whenever the time comes, at age 82, I don't know how long I'll live, how many more years, but I have thanked Baba for being alive, given that brush with death. I thank him, and I know he is not going to prolong my life indefinitely. Death will come whenever it has to, and so I have, and he is with me, watching my spiritual progress till my Atma realizes its true self, Till the Atmic realization happens, I know he'll see me through. So why should I worry about my body quitting this world? I'm not, But however, I have anxiety about my family, and the house where I live now. If I leave, if she's alone, kind of dangers she'll be exposed to. That worries. But I'm not worried because there's a strong feeling that has developed over experiences, not one, but that he is watching my spiritual progress. He will take care, So I think spiritual evolution, as I said before, happens suddenly for some. But for others, it's a process over births. And for me, I think probably it's over births. Otherwise, it should have happened by now. I would be an enlightened person, which has not happened. So, yeah.
Well, with all due respect, I respectfully disagree with that last statement. I think you're a very enlightened being in soul, and I really appreciate the honesty, humility, and sincerity of your answers, Vishwanath, and thank you very much for being on Podmasana.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed this session. I also want to say that unless I am sincere and honest, I would not be a spiritual seeker, because the highest consciousness is all truth. It's not kind of partial truth or half truth. My teacher, Professor Srinivas, has taught me sociology. You speak about half truth and quarter truth. So, but that is so far as mundane life is concerned. But then the ultimate is the truth, the eternal truth. Eternal truth is so an eternal seeker, which Baba wants for my soul, has put that strong feeling in me that I have to speak the truth, not something which is made up, not something which will impress an audience. So this Padmasana is, I have understood, mainly a sharing of experience with a larger audience, very diverse audience probably. Whether they can relate to it or not, I don't know. But the sharing has to be truthful, sincere, and honest. That's what I have understood.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with people you think would also enjoy it. You can also leave a review or rating on your preferred podcast listening platform, and be sure to follow the show to subscribe to future episodes. You can also email us at feedback@podmasana.com or reach out to us on the socials. We're on Blue Sky, Mastodon, Instagram, and YouTube. Catch you next time on Podmasana.